Welcome back to another episode of the AA Sports Podcast. My name's Art, here with my brother Alex.
What's going on, guys? What's going on?
Alex, big weekend of boxing. If you guys haven't already, check out our UFC 258 recap in one of the other podcasts. I believe it's number 27, 28. This will be our boxing recap for the weekend of, February 13th.
Yeah.
If you guys haven't already, if you guys enjoy the content, please make sure you subscribe, drop a like, leave a comment, all that good stuff. Helps out the podcast. So let's start with the DAZN card. Jojo Diaz was the main event against Rakhimov. I'm just going to skip his first name because it's a little difficult to say. But Rakhimov, he came to fight.
Yeah.
It was a great fight. Let's talk real quick, a little bit of news before the fight. Jojo Diaz missed weight by 3.6 pounds. According to something I read on Twitter from a person that was there in the bubble, Jojo Diaz made it down to like 132. He got under 132. However, once they saw how much time they had left, they couldn't leave the bubble. They tried turning on the heater in his room so he could work out. The gym, there's no sauna in the bubble. The gym where they were working out was cold. They couldn't turn the heater on inside the gym because it's a gym for other people there. So as soon as they got down to a little bit under 132, they said, screw it. We're not going to do it. We're just going to rehydrate. And they started rehydrating. That's why he was 133.6. Either way, I don't think he was going to try. Even if he had an extra 2 hours, he wasn't going to try to make the weight. He was very apologetic about it, but how do you feel about Jojo Diaz missing weight?
It's one thing when you're a big guy and you miss weight. Jojo Diaz hadn't missed weight prior to this, right?
Yeah, he missed it for his 126-pound title fight after he lost to Gary Russell. He lost to Gary Russell. And then he was going to have another title fight, and then he missed weight for that title fight.
Okay. Would you consider Jojo Diaz a big guy for 130?
No.
No?
I don't think so.
Okay. There's a difference between when you're a big guy and you're able to make a certain weight, but then, your body just kind of you don't really have those signs of where, I can't make that weight anymore. So it might have just been, for Jojo Diaz, I'll be honest, I think it was a discipline issue. He didn't, he might have let himself balloon up because of the whole COVID situation. Maybe he didn't have, I'm not going to say he didn't have the resources to train or whatever, but he probably just ballooned up and then he couldn't lose the weight. So it is what it is. End of the day, I think Jojo Diaz needs to assess himself and, get that discipline under him because this was a close call. He got a draw.
Yeah, definitely. Another piece of news for Joel Diaz wasn't in his training camp because Joel Diaz went out of the country to train Yildirim, the guy that's fighting Canelo.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so Jojo Diaz trained at home with his father, if I'm not mistaken, and Ben Lida. So going into the fight, knowing all that, I know we did the preview podcast where I was pretty sure that Jojo Diaz was going to pull out the win and everything was going to be fine. Reading all that and learning all this information right after our preview podcast, I kind of thought Rakhimov was going to pull the upset.
Yeah. It seemed to be going that way.
And the fight, like you just said right now, the fight seemed to be going that way because Rakhimov, I think, came out a little slow, landed some good punches on Jojo Diaz, but just kind of seemed like he wasn't able to really find a rhythm. And Jojo, seemed uncomfortable, but at the same time, he just did just enough to keep Rakhimov at home, keep his hands at home. What'd you think of this fight?
I feel, Jojo, at first when the fight started for the first 2 rounds, I saw Jojo Diaz just really putting a beating on Rakhimov, hitting him with some really hard shots.
He did land some good
And I was saying, this is going to be a long night for Rakhimov. Yeah. But, as the fight started to go on, rounds 3, through the entire fight, it seemed like Rakhimov was able to stun Jojo Diaz. He was able to get his head movement going, counter him with that straight left that he loves to use. And I would have liked for him to throw to the body a little more, but it was just more of a back and forth type of fight. So at a draw, I guess I'm not mad at it.
There were a couple times each guy was hurt.
Yeah.
Definitely a couple left hands that Rakhimov landed, got Jojo Diaz's attention, and vice versa. Jojo Diaz landed some great punches to get Rakhimov's attention. Rematch. Right away, we're going to think rematch. Now the title's vacant, so Jojo lost the title. Rakhimov didn't win the title. It was a draw. Title's vacant. Would you like to see a rematch between these two?
I mean, I would, but, politics of things, I don't think they're going to make a rematch right away, would they? Do you see that?
I thought the fight was pretty good. I thought it was entertaining.
It was. It was.
Think that a rematch I don't know if it would be for the title though.
Well, they were talking about Tevin Farmer saying that Jojo Diaz, what did he have, a rematch clause with did Tevin Farmer have a rematch clause in the contract or something? Sure. And he was able to, and Jojo Diaz was able to get a loophole. So there's this big old scandal going on. I really don't know what's going on with Tevin Farmer. What loophole? What rematch clause? I want to know this stuff.
It's a contract, so they can't really always talk about it. Sometimes it's released, sometimes it's not.
I don't want to hear that. You know what? People put everybody's business out there anyway. That's true. Listen, there's medical records that people shouldn't even be talking about. Yet the promoters know when to call the fighters. Things like that. You guys need to listen to some UFC fighters that get injured in a fight or whatever. They have to go see a UFC doctor. Apparently, medical records are, confidential. Yet they know when to call the fighter. So you think these doctors don't freaking tell the fighter, the promoters and all that stuff, what goes on behind the scenes? It is what it is. That's just one of my rants. That I don't want to hear people talk about contracts, all that stuff. There's no need.
Okay, would you rather watch Jojo Diaz against Rakhimov or against Tevin Farmer?
Probably Rakhimov.
Definitely,
I think so.
Rakhimov. But hey, shout out to both guys for putting on a great fight.
It was a good fight.
I'm a little worried about Jojo Diaz.
Why so?
His post-fight interview seemed very. He was honest, which is good, but at the same time, there's distractions, and for him, after a fight to have those type of thoughts and that type of interview, something was going on during camp, throughout the fight. He always had something on his mind. He finally let it out. So hopefully him letting it out and letting people know that there was issues or whatever.
All right, well, let's talk about it right now. Let's know the insights of boxing. He was talking about Ludabella or whatever the case. Who was he talking about? Calling somebody a Don King mother. Who the fuck who's Don King? I want to know which one of these guys is over here stealing money.
I'm not.
That's what I want to know. I don't want to sugarcoat anything, right? I want to get to the bottom of this.
Look, I don't know if anybody was stealing money from Jojo Diaz. I'm just going.
Well, apparently he's accusing somebody of being a donkey motherfucker. That's what he said.
I'm going based on his post-fight interview. Then exactly, that's what he said. But he just said a bunch of these guys trying to come into his career and into his life and trying to help him, quote unquote, help him out to make some money for themselves.
Who is it?
I don't know who it is. He didn't call out names. He didn't say, hey, fulano de tal is the one stealing money from me.
Jesus.
He didn't say exactly who. So
why was he talking about Lou DiBella? Who the hell's Lou DiBella?
Lou DiBella, the promoter. Did he really bring up Lou DiBella?
I don't know in what context he was talking about, but I heard Lou DiBella and I heard Don King after. So
okay, so
if you put two and two together, it looks like Lou DiBella was stealing money.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to go back and listen to the post-fight interview and find out who that Don King motherfucker is.
Yeah, that's something that impressed me too about DAZN. You let him say motherfucker on the, Even though
it's a streaming, so it's
though it's a streaming thing, they still bleep it out in UFC events and things like that too. So
true.
I mean, it's kind of a Don King could probably sue. There's, you know what I mean? It's
so Don King is behind this.
Probably, I don't know. He's probably talking about somebody.
Oh man! All right, so now that JoJo got that off his chest and called out those Don King mother effers, maybe he'll be more focused for for a rematch with Rakhimov or a rematch with Tevin Farmer.
Hopefully.
On the undercard, Brian Castano took the WBO 154-pound title from Patrick Teixiera.
I'm still laughing about that Don King. I can't believe he really brought up Don King.
I know he did.
I thought we were past all that stuff. That'll never go away.
Patrick Teixiera won his belt in his last fight, beating Carlos Adames for the 154-pound, the vacant WBO 154-pound title. And in his first defense, he came up really flat.
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest. He looked like a guy that just didn't have it tonight. And he looks like a guy that might have overworked in the gym. And the only reason I say that is because what his corner was asking him to do was not very instructional, but very motivational. And I can see a scenario where that's what happened in the gym. And he just trained and trained and trained and trained and trained. But, might have overtrained a little bit. Because Teixiera just didn't look... I mean, that Adames fight, totally different fight from what he fought today. Or tonight against Castano. But Brian Castano, I think, came with a great game plan to get inside of that reach advantage of Teixiera and really took it to him. What'd you think of Castano?
Yeah, you know what? It's hard to get in on a guy like Teixiera. You got to deal with the range. You got to deal with his height. And not just that, but you got to be careful not to punch yourself out either.
Yep.
You know what I mean? You got to be able to do that for 12 rounds. And it takes a lot of stamina to do that. And I think Castano, he knew when to pull back a little bit. I thought that Teixiera was going to be able to come on, round 7 through on, but it just seemed like he just never had it. He was in.
Oh.
I mean, it seemed like he was the one starting to wear down.
And yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so he just didn't have it, and I thought Castano he did really well. He was busy.
He was.
What did he throw, like 1,000?
1,135, if I'm not mistaken, is what I read.
Jesus.
That's an average of 95 per round. And I'm going to be honest with you. He probably could have averaged 100 per round, but that 12th round, he kind of took it off.
Yeah.
That 12th round. And then he still hurt Teixiera and, started going after him in that 12th round. So, but he did take a little bit of time off in between, in some of those rounds, but just stayed busy enough to really, keep Teixiera at home. The power for Castano is a little worrisome because he didn't seem like he had, big time knockout power. Obviously in the 12th round, he had him hurt, but, Teixiera was already tired, worn down, so I would like to see a little more body work from Castano, try to wear his opponent down in different ways and not just headhunt the whole time.
Okay.
I'm happy for Contursi, his manager. Really good people. When I got to work with some Argentinians there at the gym, Contursi was always there. Really nice guy. So I was happy for him to have another world champion with Brian Castano. At 154, there's a lot of competition though. So, I could see a little defense of a mandatory defense for him. And then, Charlo's there. Harrison's there. There's a lot of competition at 154. So he'll be defending his title. Excuse me.
Is J-Rock Williams still there or did he move up?
I believe he's at 154 also.
Okay. And then the guy that beat him,
Rosario's, I think, at 154. So there's a lot of competition. And all these guys are PBC guys. Castano, I know, was a Golden Boy card on DAZN, but Castano's a PBC fighter. So, dude, all these fights can get made. Mm-hmm. So he's going to have a rough time defending the title. Like a lot of people say, it's hard to become champion, but it's even harder to defend the title and keep being champion. So, hopefully he works hard and works hard to defend his title. Teixiera, I don't know. I think Teixiera still has a lot more to show than what he showed today. I think he's a lot better fighter than what we saw today, and I think he needs to go back to the drawing board and figure out some things. But I think we could see him make a run at 154 again, because he did get knocked out by Curtis Stevens.
Yeah,
when he moved up to 160, but came back and became world champion. So I don't see why he can't do it again. But still, it was an entertaining fight.
Yeah,
even though it was one-sided. Any last thoughts on Castano?
No. You know what? Overall, and the new. On the undercards, Ronny Rios got a big win over Oscar Negrete. Any thoughts on Ronny Rios? Man, Ronny Rios, you know what? He looked good. And you know what? I thought this was going to be I thought this was a fight that Ronny Rios was going to win regardless. Oscar Negrete is more of a volume puncher type of guy. So I don't really know why they made this fight at 122. I'm not too sure. I feel Oscar Negrete is better at 118. And I think, after this fight, I think he should go down to 118, and fight his fight there. But you know what? He was game. He walked through a lot of Ronny Rios' shots, and Ronny Rios threw it, he dug to the body with that left hooks to the body. And then he was able to, come over with the uppercuts. And I think Oscar Negrete, was waiting for him to slow down, and it just never happened. Yeah.
He never did. I'm going to give Ronny Rios his props first. This guy has been through adversity up and down. Right now, his career is trending upwards. I think he's close to another title shot. I think he can become world champion, given the right, championship fight. But he is trending upwards, and I'm really happy to see that, because he's been through a lot of ups and downs in his career. Oscar Negrete, I'm going to be honest, completely brutally honest. He looked, and I tweeted this out, he looked like a guy who is tired of fighting.
He might be.
He looked so worn out in this fight. I don't know if maybe same thing as Teixiera. He's just left it all in training camp. Those wars with Franco, just his career in general, because with his style, eventually it takes a toll on your body. And that's what it looked like to me. It looked like he's just tired of fighting, and he's just doing it. I'm not going to say he's just doing it for the paycheck, because he probably loves boxing and that's why he's doing it also. But it looks like his body's tired. He's tired. I don't know if he continues. If he does continue, like you said, hopefully it's at 118. But man, he just didn't look like he doesn't look like he has it anymore.
Yeah. It's for the way he fights, he's more of a volume puncher. So, he doesn't really have that head movement either to avoid punches. No, he's going to have to eat a lot of them, for him to win fights. And, unfortunately it's not at 122, because if he eats punches like that from 122 pounders that can really crack, he's in, his career might come to an early finish. So hopefully he can go down to 118. Hopefully, have some more good fights there. And, is there anything that he can really do at this point? Work on some head movement, something like that. It just doesn't seem like he's that type of fighter,
My advice, who am I? But my advice would be to take a lot of time off, not, let yourself balloon up and, work out, keep working out, but take time off, no sparring, no nothing, just work out, without having the pressures of a training camp and the pressures of losing weight and all that. He just needs to just take some time off, let his body heal, let his body recover, still work out, but not, no sparring, no nothing like that, no gym wars.
Did he look? He left Manny Robles, right? Was this his first fight without Manny Robles?
I believe so, yes.
Do you think that did him a disservice as well, or he said that he needed some more attention?
I don't know. And I think Manny Robles is a great trainer. I think he's been done. I'm gonna be honest. He's been done wrong by a lot of fighters. So
and it sucks. I mean,
yeah, it sucks because when you're a boxing trainer, you need fighters, and when fighters,
what I've heard from, what I've seen on YouTube and things like that, which a lot of people probably don't know, is that boxing trainers, they sometimes don't get paid by fighters that choose not to pay them.
You're at the mercy of the fighter.
Yeah, and that's bullshit. You know what I mean? You're there 8-week camp, sometimes 10-week camp, and you don't get paid at the end of that. That's I don't know. That's bad.
Manny Robles has been done wrong. He's a great trainer.
He's been done wrong.
He has. I'm gonna be honest. And he'll tell you too. I'm sure he's said it in various interviews. He's been done wrong. He's a great trainer, but I don't think even Manny Robles or a top trainer could help out Negrete right now without him taking some time off.
Okay.
That's just my
fair enough.
Those are just my thoughts. Also on the undercard, Shane Mosley Jr. got himself a win. Any thoughts on Shane Mosley Jr.?
Nah, you know what? He looked good. You know what? He got himself a good stoppage. You know what? They keep talking about his mental. What is it that's going on with Shane Mosley Jr.? You know what? He's got the power. He's not the worst fighter out there. There's people. No. I feel like they give him a hard time because he's Mosley's son.
That's what it is. It's the name.
And he's got three losses. What is it? Is Mosley even helping him?
No, he left Mosley a long time ago.
He left his own dad?
Yeah.
Fucking little asshole, bro.
No, but let's be honest, dude. When you're
little asshole,
I'm gonna be another honest mom.
Grateful.
I'm being very honest in this podcast for a lot of things. Having the legendary Shane Mosley in your corner does not help, because you would have to win every fight by a knockout, or you would have to look better than Shane Mosley in every single fight for you to, get your respect.
That's just how it is too. People think that just because you're the son of somebody that you got, fed with a silver spoon in your mouth. Mm-hmm. That's not the case for everybody.
No, it's
not. Know what I mean? But unfortunately, that's the way people are going to be.
That's the repetition. And
it sucks. Dude, it puts a lot of pressure on you.
Dude, they say boxing is, probably like 80% mental, 70% mental, 30% physical, whatever. Let's call it 50-50 or 60-40, whatever. People like to talk about how money splits. Being the son of Shane Mosley has to take a mental toll on you, especially when you're trying to box, because you're just being compared to your dad all the time, and that's not healthy. Yeah. How
you want to be your own person sometimes.
Yeah, how many second generation fighters does it really work out for? Not many.
Look at Chavez Jr.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? He had a good run where he was able to become a champion, right?
Yeah, but
he just went on a downward spiral. I think he just got tired of boxing. Yeah. He just like, what? This is my dad's legacy that he left. It's
or his dream.
Yeah, his dream, but it's not really what I want to do.
Exactly.
I mean, he's still fighting, but he's kind of on a downward spiral.
Dude, it's easy money.
Yeah, I mean, but do you know any insight on how come Mosley Jr. left his dad? Because I want to know what the F is going on.
One time they did.
I'd be distraught if my son left me.
They were training at the gym for a couple of weeks, and I mean everything seemed fine, but you could tell like Mosley Jr. just was not. He needed to step away from his dad to try to make his own way. Let's just put it that way.
What do you mean? Like, there were some altercations going
on? No. I didn't.
Clashing of heads?
No, it's just, sometimes.
They didn't make a 24/7 like Floyd Mayweather and his dad?
No, just sometimes, like I said, having Shane Mosley in your corner is too much pressure. And I think he's actually looked better without Mosley in his corner.
Really?
I'm not saying that he's with better trainers, because I don't know the training situation, but I feel like there's less pressure on him without his dad in the corner. Yeah. I'm sure his dad still supports him and all that, but it's different when he's the one yelling at you in the corner in between the break.
I mean, that's true. It's different for everybody. Remember when we went to the tournament in Coachella And Shane Mosley Jr. was like the last fight, I think, and everybody was talking about Shane Mosley Jr. and then he ended up losing.
Yeah, and he lost that fight.
But to me, that's bullshit. You know what I mean? Like, okay, you lose the fight, so what? You know what I mean? You lose the fight,
it's
but
the amateurs. Everybody loses, but
exactly because you're Shane Mosley's son. Oh, you don't get a break because you're Shane Mosley's son.
Exactly. So that's what I mean. That's what I mean by the pressures of being Shane Mosley's son. That's what's getting to him. Or it got to him, or the difference in his career. I could say his career might have been better if he wasn't. What if his name wasn't even Shane? Just a different name, just Bob Mosley. He could be, Bob Mosley could be a lot less pressure because he's not a junior. Sure, he has the last name Mosley, but it's not Shane Mosley. Like, fuck, you gotta live up to Shane Mosley. Good luck with that, man.
Yeah, no. So I mean, hopefully he can get it together and not let the outside things get to him. They're talking something's wrong with his, his mental and everything like that. Hopefully he can just, get it together. Because if he can't, it sucks, because that's just the way boxing is. That's the way people are. People are going to talk, and that's just how it is. You can't please everybody.
He's 30 years old. He's probably in his physical prime, we could say. Let's say he makes a good run at 160. And by good run, I don't mean, maybe he can make it to a world title shot. But a good run by beating some good, solid contenders, hey, why not? I think he could do that.
You know what? Why not go and try to find yourself some better help? Or, do you think?
I'm not saying, look, I'm not trying to knock his trainers right now because I don't know how the training situation is
Who does train him? I don't even know.
I didn't even pay attention.
All I know is that he left his dad.
You're still upset about that.
I am upset. I didn't know he left his dad.
We'll spend a lot of time on
Dude, that's the most disrespectful thing you could do.
You're putting more pressure on him now. Not that he's listening to this, but you're putting more pressure on him now.
I'm just saying what people are saying. That's disrespectful. I'm just kidding. I don't know. Hopefully he can get it together because, it's his own career, own legacy. You got to make your own way.
Yeah, definitely. And starting the DAZN telecast was Beck the Bully. Got himself a nice stoppage victory with a body shot. Dude,
boy, did he just bully.
He
just destroyed this guy.
He would have fought Kovalev while Kovalev was on PEDs. He don't give a fuck.
He looks like a guy that just doesn't give a shit on.
He doesn't. And he fights like it too. He fights like he don't give a shit. He don't give a shit how hard you hit or nothing. He's just going to go in there and he's going to bully you. That's why he's called Beck the Bully. So I'm excited to see him again. I know this felt more like a stay busy fight because he was scheduled to fight Kovalev.
He doesn't have that many fights either. What is he, like 7-0?
Something like that, yeah.
Jesus, 7-0 and you're fighting Kovalev?
Yeah.
Something must be special about
you. He would have beat Kovalev. Easy.
On peds?
Yeah. Also on the
undercard?
Kind of like the prelims. They had him on Facebook. Crazy A, Azat Havanesian, got himself a stoppage victory. Also a good guy, fun, exciting fighter. Has a win over Ronny Rios, actually.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So anything else about the DAZN card before we move on?
Not really. I think we covered mostly everything.
I hope so. We were on this for a long time. All right. Moving on to ESPN, Top Rank on ESPN. Richard Commey made his first or his comeback, first fight after being stopped by Teofimo Lopez and losing his IBF title. And he got a victory by knockout over Jackson Marinez. I was disappointed in this fight because I thought Marinez had a good chance. I thought Marinez came out and fought well to start the fight, got caught with a couple good punches and just wasn't able to recover. Your thoughts on the fight?
Yeah, same here. You know what? I thought Jackson Marinez was going to be able to outbox him, and it seemed like he was en route to doing that. He was able to fight a good fight, but, just a couple of mistakes. He got caught with those straight right hands, and apparently Richard Commey has some really good power. And, the way Jackson Marinez fights, it's a dangerous game, when you're, these guys that can really crack, and, sometimes you're not going to be able to dodge everything. So, hopefully Jackson Marinez can rebuild himself, work on some of those mistakes or whatever the case is. And you know what? Tip my hat off to Richard Commey because not too many guys make it from Ghana, man. And to fight on a stage like this.
To come back after being knocked out by Teofimo Lopez. In front
devastating knockout. 2 rounds.
Exactly. So again, shout out to Richard Commey. I need to put I need to put some respect on Richard Commey's name because I felt like, first of all, Jackson Marinez was fighting better competition than Rolly Romero, who they fought in their previous fights. Romero fought Avery Sparrow, and that's no knock on Avery Sparrow, but he is not Richard Commey.
Yeah.
And Jackson Marinez fighting Richard Commey, who's arguably a top 5 lightweight right now.
Mm-hmm.
So this was a difficult fight for Marinez to take, but I think I underestimated Richard Commey's, his skill, because I think he's a better boxer than he's given credit for, and his power. Yeah. That guy could crack. And he showed it in this fight against Marinez. He was able to overcome an early. I thought he was losing the first couple rounds, like you said, and he was able to overcome that. Commey, I'm excited to see Commey fight any of the top 135 pounders, and I think because of his positioning, I think a fight between him and like Devin Haney or Ryan Garcia or Tank Davis or whoever at 135 is possible because he's kind of a top-ranked guy, but not really a top-ranked guy. You know what I mean?
What do you mean?
So he's kind of like co-promoted by Top Rank, and he's not like their big money maker. So I feel like he can, attract a fighter from a different promotion, or he could go to a different promotion to fight for a title.
Oh, okay.
To fight one of the bigger guys. So I'm excited to see Richard Commey again. Like I said, I think I underestimated what he could do, and him coming off that loss to Teofimo Lopez, he looks just fine. You know what?
A lot of guys don't recover from, getting knocked out like that. Sometimes they go on a downward spiral, but Richard Commey looked like he really regrouped, and he was able to get a really good win. Jackson Marinez was looked at to be an undefeated fighter, really, because a lot of people, said that he beat Rolly Romero. So, you know what? Tip my hat off to him. Coming from Ghana, not too many people make it out of there, and now he's fighting on the big stages.
Yep.
So, tip my hat off to him, man. Great fighter.
The original main event was supposed to be Joe Smith Jr. against Maxim Vlasov. If you guys didn't see our preview podcast, that fight got canceled because Vlasov tested positive for COVID upon arriving at the bubble. Sucks for Joe Smith Jr., but hopefully they can find him a fight soon.
Hopefully.
On the undercard, Adam Lopez won a majority decision against Jason Sanchez, and what turned out to be a really close fight.
Yeah.
And after watching Adam Lopez in his last couple fights, I was like, well, he's good, but is he, ready to take that next step? And then this fight against Jason Sanchez, I was like, okay, well, if he could, beat Jason Sanchez, fairly convincingly, then he's ready to step up. I don't think that Adam Lopez is ready to step up at all.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? Jason Sanchez looked like he was fighting a really good fight, from the first round to the fourth round. But then he just kind of started headhunting, and he didn't really throw to the body. And Adam Lopez, blue nose, he was able to his skills just kind of started to surface over Jason Sanchez. He was able to slip and dip and counter Jason Sanchez to the point where he just cruised to the victory.
Yeah, over that second half of that fight, he really took over. Like you said, Jason Sanchez got out to an early lead, but Adam Lopez was able to overcome that and take the decision. At 126, I don't know. There seems to be, not a lot of crazy competition because guys moved up to 130. But, we'll see what's next for him. But I don't think he's there yet. Now, can he be, a world title contender? Definitely. But I just don't think he's there yet. I think he still has a little bit to go.
All right.
And also on the undercard, Jared Anderson, Big Baby, got a vicious knockout victory over Kingsley Ibeh, who was another heavyweight prospect. And Anderson got a nice knockout. What'd you think of Anderson's performance?
It was a really good performance. You know what? He was beating the guy up for every round.
Yep.
And then I would have liked for the other guy to actually make it the distance. You get brutalized the entire fight, and then you end up getting knocked out in the last round. It's like, man, but this Jared Anderson dude, this dude can move for being a big dude. He can box.
Look, my thoughts on Anderson are, is he ready for the big guys at heavyweight? No, he's not ready for a title shot. He's
not yet.
No, but he's showing little by little that he has what it takes to compete at heavyweight.
He's more of an athletic type of heavyweight too. He's not one of these slower, guys like that are just slow, have no head movement. No, he's a guy that has his head movement and he can crack. So, hopefully he's moving in the right direction, I feel. Yeah,
I think he could beat some good heavyweights right now.
Okay.
I really do. To get himself into contention, I don't, he's not close. This was a 6-round fight. Mm-hmm. He's not close to that level, but I'm sure by the time he develops 8, 10 rounds, 12-round fights, I think he could be a player in the next, few years to be a heavyweight contender.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
That I've seen him a couple times now in the bubble, and he just gets better and better. And that's what you want to see. You don't want to see a guy just, be good and then just keep being good and keep being good. You want to see a guy improve, and that's what Jared Anderson's doing, taking advantage of the bubble and of COVID, the COVID situation. Also on the undercard, Floyd Cashflow Diaz won his pro debut. He looked pretty good in doing it, won all 4 rounds. I was happy to see that. He was a good kid. He is a good kid. From when I met him back when he was little. Great kid. So glad to see him make his pro debut. Any last thoughts on the boxing cards this weekend?
No. You know what? Overall, some really good fights. Stay tuned for the next episode. We'll figure out, why Shane Mosley Jr. left his dad and why Jojo Diaz, why they're stealing money from Jojo Diaz. So,
who's that Don King?
Yeah, who's that Don King mother effer? You know what I mean? And
oh man. And we turn our attention to Burchelt versus Valdez.
Oh, that's a good fight.
Next weekend. So we'll have a preview on that later this week. Thank you guys for listening or watching this episode of the AA Sports Podcast, and we'll talk to you guys next time.
Peace out, guys.